Hey YouTube, AZ Papa Les coming at you today. Today is, I believe it's part, well, I don't remember, I think it's part 6, but anyway, the next in the series on the So You Want to Get Started Reloading. And we're out in the old man cave today, this morning. There's old Jasper the Wonder dog. Huh, Jappers? Oh, it's just so hot you don't even want to move, do you? Do you? No, sir. Anyway, let's go swing back over here. Sorry about that. That's as white as it will go, so pardon me while I move the tripod back a little bit. We need a little room today. And today we're going to kind of talk about case preparation, especially for the rifle cartridges. I kind of went over this in the I believe it was part 3. Yeah, part 3, talking about the reloading dies on a rifle. Reloading die, because of how it's done, it stretches the case. And so after you resize the rifle case, you absolutely positively gotta check for the overall length of the cartridge. And if you go and check your reloading manuals that I suggested that you get in part 1, you'll find what the case overall length is. And using your handy dandy dowel caliper, they'll tell you whether you need to trim them or not. They'll give you the max length that you can use, usable. And if it exceeds that max length, then you have to trim it. And being the extremely frugal, also known as cheap SOB that I am, at the time I didn't want to go out and spend, $75 to a couple $100 for a case trimmer. So what I opted for was the lead case trimming system, and it is the least expensive option out there, at least in my opinion, unless you make something on your own. Almost everybody else out there, RCBS, Hornady, Lyman, they all make case trimmers, and they're like a mini lathe that you clamp down to the table and you turn the handle, and the cutter comes in and trims the case down. And some of them have power adapters that you can hook up a cordless or a corded drill to do it. But they tend to be rather pricey. And then there's some motor-driven dooley bobs that do it all. After you trim the cases, but those automatic do-it-all case trimmers are, I think they're $400 or $500. It's ridiculous. But anyway, here's how the Lee system works. You've got this deal that I chuck up in my cordless, and then when you buy the case trimmer, it comes with the rod and a shell plate holder, and this one happens to be for a 30-06. You screw it on, you slide your case in all the way and make sure it's centered, and you tighten it up. Then the rod you screw in here into the cutter. This is the cutter head, if you can see those cutters, and you get it down tight, snug. This tip goes into the primer hole in the case. Come on, go in there. And this case is rather short. But anyway, what you do is you just hang on to this and run that and pull it out. And then you use, this is their, you have to debur, you have to take the little shavings off from cutting. And there's different ones out there. This happens to be the Lee. and it chamfers both the inside of the case mouth, and by turning it around it chamfers the outside of the case mouth and gets rid of those burrs. And then you're done, and you just take it off, put the next one on, and go through the deal. One really good idea also to get in the habit with everything is to get a pocket cleaner, and this is Lee's pocket cleaner. Yeah, and it comes with both for small primers and large primers. The 223 uses a small primer. You just put it in there and you turn it back and forth a little bit, and it cleans out your primer pocket. Then you're done. I would strongly suggest that after you resize with the resizing die and you have used your lube and you've trimmed the cases and done everything you're going to do to it, is to once again put your cases back in a cleaner, whether it be a vibratory, vibrator cleaner, or a tumbling stainless steel media cleaner, or whatever you're using to clean your brass, to get rid of the lube that you're putting on. In my next video, I'll give you a recipe for making your own homemade case lube. Well, I'll give it to you now. Basically, you want to take 12 ounces, if you can find it, 99% isopropyl alcohol, and add to it in anywhere from 8-to-1 mixture all the way up to a 12-to-1 mixture of either lanolin that you can get at health food stores, or what I just use the Lee case lube, and it mixes in with that alcohol real well. And just put your cases into a 1-gallon Ziploc baggie and give it a couple sprays in the bag, close it up, and toss the brass around in the bag. And what it happens is that you get enough case lube on all the shells just with 2 sprays, because it doesn't take much. And then I just lay them out on a cookie sheet and let the alcohol evaporate. It only takes a couple minutes, and then get on to the resizing process. If you can't find the 99% alcohol in your auto parts store, there's a fuel additive, I believe it's called IsoHeat, for de-icing your fuel lines and stuff. For people up north, are probably familiar with that. And all that is it's 99% isopropyl alcohol. If you can't get that, you can use the 91%. It just takes a little bit longer for it to dry. But there's a money-saving tip for you. You can make your own spray-on case lube for a lot less than you can buy anything else out there. After you've reloaded your cases several times, especially rifle cases, because they stretch, you trim them, they stretch, you trim them, is to take a paper clip. This just happens to be an old piece of electrical wire that I had laying around. It's about 3.5 inches long, and I got a little bent it out at a right angle at the end. And all you do is you slip this inside your case, and you slide it up and down that little protrusion, and you're trying to feel for a ridge. And what happens is, over a period of time that you've loaded and reloaded the rifle cases, they stretch out, and it will stretch out in through here, and you'll catch a ridge on the inside of the case. You won't see it on the outside, but you'll feel it with either like a paper clip or this piece of wire. You'll feel a ridge, and what that's telling you is that you don't need to be using that shell casing anymore, because it's prone to head separation here on the case. and that's just no fun when you're out shooting. So if you feel a ridge inside the rifle case, discard the rifle case. I just keep a bucket, and as I get bad brass by either the case neck splitting, or I feel the ridge, or it's the caliber that, you know, I go and pick up a bunch of brass at the range. It's caliber I don't use, and I just dump it in the bucket, and as I get a 5-gallon bucket, I go down to the recycle place and sell it. So a few extra bucks to buy primers and powder with. So there you go. Some guys will run a primer pocket uniformer, and they have pocket primer brushes and all kinds of extra doodads, and I feel for the most part, for the kind of shooting that I do, I don't need to go through all those extra what I feel is excessive steps. I'm not a bench shooter. I'm not looking to poke one hole in a piece of paper at 100 yards. So I believe that's it on case prep. Next time around, we'll talk about the tumblers and how you clean up your brass once you get it back from the range, and after you resize it, we'll go through that. And if you have any questions or comments, post them down below, please. And I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any more suggestions for something you'd like to see, or a little bit more detailed explanation of something, let me know. I'll see what I can do to help out. So it's AZ Papa Les coming at you today, and we're done. And y'all take care, and remember, keep smiling, because it makes people wonder what you've been up to. Take care, YouTube. Bye-bye.